Hi everyone, welcome to a Stamping to Share video. My name is Kay Kalthoff and today I'm going to share with you this lovely Sympathy card and how to create it. It uses the Watercolor Wonder Designer Series paper that I've stamped directly over the top with the stamp set that's called Love and Sympathy. I have a picture of it right here. And we're going to use all three stamps today. We're going to use the sentiment for the outside of the card, a sentiment for the inside, and of course the bold flower here. So let's go ahead and get started. And the first thing we're going to need is a piece of Smoky Slate Designer Series, just Smoky Slate cardstock, cut at 5.5 by 8.5 and scored at 4 1/4. And then we are going to just fold this in half. And I have my bone folder handy to make a crease back here so it'll lay flat for us. The next thing that we'll need is a 4" by 5 1/4" piece of Smoky Slate cardstock, and then I've run it through the Big Shot machine with the embossing folder called Wood Grain, and it gives this really nice textured piece. Now you don't see a lot of that just because we are going to use the on film Framelit die for the front of our card, and that's fairly large, so it's going to cover up quite a bit of this. However, I think it's the details that count, and you will be able to notice the details beneath that on-frame Framelit and or on-film Framelit. So here we go. Let's go ahead now and take a look at the on-film Framelit set. Boy, I hope I get this right by the end of the video. So we're going to use this piece right here. I'm going to show you a couple of tips with the Big Shot machine when you do use this piece. I have my Big Shot machine right here, and if you've ever heard that awful crunch when you put something through the Big Shot machine and you think, oh my goodness, it's breaking the machine, well, I'm going to show you what that sounds like, and then I'm going to show you how you don't have to hear that. So I've just set it up. I think you can see it. It's right here on a piece of scrap Whisper White paper, and I have a shim of Berry Vellum, or the Vellum cardstock shim. Now I'm rolling it through, and you hear that loud crack at the front and at the end when you roll it through. Well, I'm going to show you how you can prevent that loud cracking sound. So I'm going to just take this out and set myself up with another piece of paper so I can show you how to prevent that loud sound. So you just put your scrap paper on here. You're going to put your on-film Framelit over the top, and then instead of putting it in the same direction, that's lined up with the machine, you're going to turn it so that it's going in at a slight angle like this. So then we can go ahead and put the rest of it on top. We have our no-cut plate and our vellum shim and roll it through. And now you'll notice I can roll it all the way through and there's no loud crack or snap. And that is, putting it on an angle like this is what makes that difference. Now you can do that with all of our dies, all of our thinlits and framelits. The only exception is the large one for the card, the swing cards. You can't put that on an angle, but some of the smaller ones you can, and that will create that really loud cracking noise. All right, so let's go ahead and we're going to use this. I am just going to pull it out of here a little bit, sort of gently. There we go. And now what we're going to do next is I have a piece of the Watercolor Wonder Designer Series paper. I've cut it at 3 3/8 by 4, and we're going to go ahead and stamp this right now. I do kind of like to lay this over the top just as I'm putting my sentiment on, so I know where I want the sentiment, and I am going to keep it towards me so that I can see what I'm doing here and get this lined up correctly. So I'm inking my sentiment up with the Stays On black ink, and I'm just going to set that right there. And then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to stamp the flower image. And again, I have the Stays On black, and I have found that if I just center this flower pretty much in the center, so that it's even from top to bottom, that it will show up just perfect where I want it when we put it all together. All right, so now to put it together, we have to, whoops, I have the wrong piece here. We have to flip this framelit cutout, and I'm going to take my multi-purpose liquid glue, and I am going to put a streak or a line of glue all the way around, very skinny line right there, all the way around that opening. And then I'm going to take my paper and set it right over the top of that glue line. Then I can flip it over, and I have just a little bit of time to kind of wiggle it around and make sure that it looks as good as it can look. Now I noticed that my sentiment was stamped a little crooked, so one of the nice things about this is I can always trim flush with my edge after it's on, so that makes the sentiment line up square. So I will just take my paper snips, and I can now trim this so that you can't ever tell that I had a little bit of a crooked sentiment initially. There we go. Lovely, beautiful. Okay, so let's go ahead, and then there isn't much left to do with this card. We just need to add a little bit of twine. I have about 18 inches of the Calypso Coral twine, and I'm just going to wrap that around twice, and then I'm going to tie that in a knot. We'll see how good my knot tying skills are with the video. Sometimes bows and knots don't turn out as nice when you're doing it on a video, but this one turned out good. So now I'm going to take the ribbon scissors and just trim this up so it looks all nice and neat. There we go. Now we can add some dimensionals, and I am going to be a little bit more generous than normal with dimensionals because we have this designer series paper here, and that's not very sturdy, so I will just add 2 in the middle, and then I can take these peelings off so that it will stick to our card. And here we go. So now I'm going to just set this on at an angle. There we are. And the front of our card is complete. Looks really nice. And then the inside of the card, not too much left to do there. We need a 1/2 inch by 4 inch strip of the Coordinating Designer Series paper from our Watercolor Wonder paper pack. And that's in our Spring 2014 catalog. And then we are going to take the sentiment for the inside of the card, ink that up real nice with our StazOn black ink, and we're going to stamp this right here. And the card is complete. Hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you so much for stopping by today, and have a great day. Bye-bye.